Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the United States of America.
Well, welcome to a beautiful morning and an incredibly important and historic day for the Paralympic movement. I am Andy Fleming, president of the Atlanta Paralympic Games, and for the last 5.5 years, it has been my privilege and my honor to lead the effort to bring the 1996 Paralympic Games to the United States as part of the world's celebration of the Centennial Olympics. And in many respects, the second half of this summer's great celebration of life and human achievement. Mr. President, on behalf of our board of directors, our staff, the thousands of volunteers involved in the Paralympics, the International Paralympic Committee and the worldwide Paralympic family, and most importantly, the athletes we serve, I want to thank you not only for this historic morning, but for the several years of effort that you and so many in your administration have committed to the success of the Paralympics. We are delighted that you agreed long ago to serve as honorary chairman of the Paralympic Games, and that you have done so much on a personal level to include the Paralympics in your messages about the larger Olympic celebration. Whether it has been including Paralympians in your early morning runs or in more formal ceremonies, you, the Vice President, and others in your administration have done much to heighten the credibility, the identity, and the visibility of our athletes and our movement, and for that, we are truly grateful. And of course, we know that the support we are receiving from the Department of Defense, the Department of Transportation and the Federal Transit Administration, the Department of Education, the U.S. Information Agency, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Labor Department, and others will be critical to meeting our fundamental responsibility to provide these world-class athletes with a world-class competitive environment. In many ways, this morning's ceremony, coming as it does from the most important residents in the world, marks the coming of age of the Paralympic movement here in the United States. And in just 9 short days, when Vice President Gore opens the Games of the 10th Paralympiad, our 3,500 athletes from more than 120 nations will take center stage in Atlanta, and for 10 days engage in competition as intense and exciting as any in the world. Competition that will be broadcast not only throughout America, but throughout the world. And through their world-class performances, our athletes will demonstrate that your personal efforts and those of the administration have been well placed. The 1996 Nations Bank Paralympic Torch Relay that we will begin this morning is the most extensive in Paralympic history, and like the Paralympic Games themselves, is the first ever Paralympic relay to be held in the United States. We are truly excited and thankful to be starting the 1996 Nations Bank Paralympic Torch Relay here at the White House. And now to tell us more about the relay itself, it is my pleasure to introduce one of America's top Paralympians, a former world record holder in the 100 meters and long jump, a gold medalist in Seoul, silver medalist in Barcelona, the chairman of our Athletes Advisory Council, the vice chairman of our board of directors, and a member of the President's Council on Physical Fitness, and a great human being, Al Mead.
Thank you, Andy. Mr. President, friends of the Paralympic movement, it is indeed an honor to join you today for the launch of the 1996 Nations Bank Paralympic Torch Relay. This will be the longest, most ambitious Paralympic Torch Relay in history. Yesterday in Atlanta, the Paralympic torch was lit. This symbol of hope and perseverance was kindled by the eternal flame burning at the gravesite of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. For the first time, the King flame was the source for a kindred spirit that will shine on our nation as the Paralympic athletes test their strength, their wills, and their determination. Today, the torch begins its journey from our nation's capital and from this great residence, the White House. Over the next 10 days, it will move across 4 states. Over 1,000 participants will move the flame by foot, on bicycles, on horseback, and over water. Finally, the torch will return to Atlanta and to Olympic Stadium. There, after reaching the hearts and minds of millions of Americans, it will end the journey and begin the 1996 Paralympic Games. Thank you, Mr. President, for this opportunity to bring the torch and the Paralympic spirit within it to this great place and time in history. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. First of all, welcome to the White House. Welcome to the lawn. Welcome to summertime. I want to thank Al Mead and Andy Fleming for being here today, and Randy Snow and all the members of the 1996 U.S. Paralympic team. We are so delighted to have you here. So excited that this is the beginning of the Torch Relay. We know that the torch that we launch here today will ignite the world's second largest sporting event and the first Paralympic Games ever to be held here in the United States. I want to echo what has just been said. It is very fitting that the torch was lit yesterday by the eternal flame at the tomb of Dr. Martin Luther King. His life has come to symbolize the struggle and the promise, the opportunity, and the responsibility of our nation. This is the first time his flame has been shared for any other purpose, and I'd like to thank Coretta Scott King and Dexter King, the entire King family, for sharing it with these games. It is a remarkable statement and an altogether fitting one. I know that our, thank you. I know that our American team, many of whom are gathered here today, and the other teams around the world will thrill people all around the world with their courage and their achievements. And we will be reminded everywhere, but especially here in the United States, how much more we can accomplish when all people everywhere are given the chance to participate fully in our national life. The people in these Olympics got here because they believed in themselves and worked hard to achieve their goals. The organizing committee of the Atlanta Paralympic Games, under the leadership of Andy Fleming and Al Mead, and many others here today, have also worked very hard to make these games the best ever. This year's games are the result of an unprecedented partnership between the committee, the corporate community, and the federal government. And APOC has done an outstanding job of educating corporate America about the value of being associated with these games. For the first time, there will be network television coverage. The dedication to these games from the members of my own administration, I can tell you, has been very heartfelt, and I want to thank them. Education Secretary Riley himself is now down on the mall waiting to receive the torch. The Vice President will have the great honor of declaring the Games open on August the 15th. And as all of you know, there will now be more than 3,500 athletes there from 120 different nations. Our American team includes some of the finest athletes and some of the finest individuals in the world. Amy Mullins, a student at Georgetown, my alma mater, who is here with us today, is the only disabled member of an NCAA Division I track team, and I thank her for being here and for her contribution. She's a world record holder in the 100 and 200 meter dashes and in the long jump, and she'll be competing in all events, all three of those events in Atlanta. Tricia Zorn is a swimmer from Indiana who's been competing since the age of 7 and has won more than 30 gold medals in her career. 14-year-old Leanne Shannon from Orange Park, Florida, is the youngest member of our team and the youngest member ever. At this year's trials, she finished first in the 100, 200, 400, and 800 meter races. The joys of youth. She also volunteers in a rehabilitation hospital in her community, helping other people. In addition to being a world stage for some of the greatest athletes, the Paralympics Games will also give us an opportunity to reflect on where the disability movement is heading worldwide in the areas of equal opportunity, economic opportunity, and access to sports for all people with disabilities. I'm determined to press on with meeting the challenge to our nation that I put forward in 1992, a national disability policy based on inclusion, independence, and empowerment. The Paralympic Games are a powerful demonstration of what can happen when inclusion, independence, and empowerment become realities in individuals' lives with great abilities and great hearts. In Atlanta, experts from around the world will be discussing these issues in the 3rd Paralympic Congress, chaired by our good friend Justin Dart, who's also here with us today, and who in his own way has the most Olympian spirit I believe I've ever come across. We thank you for being here, sir. My domestic policy advisor, Carol Rasko, will co-chair a session on how to make the athletic experience available to children with disabilities around the world. And we know this will be a very successful Congress. In a few minutes, the Paralympic torch, representing the triumph of the human spirit, will be formally presented to me on behalf of the 1996 Paralympic team by Paralympic swimmer Diane Straub. I want to thank her not only for bringing the flame to the White House, but also for her selflessness, her determination, and her achievement. The flame of her life burns just as brightly as the flame of these games and is lighting the way to others. Even with her demanding medical school studies and her training schedule, she still finds time to help disadvantaged children. She is truly a Paralympic champion and an American hero. I'd also like to thank the co-chair of the President's Commission on Physical Fitness, Tom McMillan, for being with me here today and for supporting the concept that physical fitness is every bit as important, if not more important, for Americans with disabilities than for other Americans. We are committed to that, and I thank you, Tom, for being here. Now, this torch is beginning its journey home to Atlanta, carried by one of America's best. Randy Snow has been a member of 6 United States national wheelchair basketball teams. An accident when he was 16 left him a paraplegic. His enthusiasm and excellence in sports, however, did not diminish. He's gone on to have an outstanding career in both basketball and tennis. He devotes a lot of his time to extolling the value of recreation and wellness to people with disabilities. In 1994, the National Council of Disability presented him with its Outstanding Citizenship Award. In 1989, he won the coveted Jack Gerhardt Award as the Wheelchair Athlete of the Year. He will hand the torch off to Georgia Congressman John Lewis, who was, as many of you know, an associate of Dr. King, who will take it off the White House grounds. 1,000 people will participate in the relay that will cover 1,000 miles. When the torch reaches Atlanta on August 15th, it will take its place in the Olympic Stadium, the most accessible arena of its kind in the world. I am proud that we have worked hard to make this a reality. Dr. King once said, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." That is a great lesson of these games. In their dedication to excellence, equality, and community, APOC, the athletes, their families, their coaches, are the best examples of what is right with our country. May this torch serve as an inspiration to all Americans to give their best in every endeavor, to make the most of their God-given abilities, and to recognize that we are all stronger and more vibrant when we develop, recognize, and support the talents of all of our people. May that be the lasting legacy of the 1996 Paralympics. It is now my honor to invite Diane Straub, a member of the 1996 Paralympic team, to bring the torch to the stage. Diane.